Hello everybody, it's Joe from JLW Games coming at you with another cool video, and we're back in Planet Coaster in Rustic City, one of my favorite starts to a theme park. So what we are going to be doing today, we're going to be building another building over here, but that's not the very exciting part that we're going to get into. The most exciting part is we do get into our first ride. So, but first we're going to be getting to this building first. It's not as complex as the first one, so it doesn't take as long, and we have a little bit longer episode because I was just getting a little excited for the first ride. So the first ride is going to be a mine train coaster, and with this kind of park, I felt like it was very, very fitting to make sure I had one of those. But I'm going to be doing something for the first time that I haven't done, I don't think, really in ever in Planet Coaster, and that's going to be making some custom supports. So I'm going to be using the mine train track type, but I'm going to be getting rid of the steel supports, and I'm going to be using wooden supports. So it's going to be sort of like a hybrid coaster. It's going to be like a true mine train where it actually has the wooden supports, and those actually are out there. So very few I have actually seen that actually do have the steel supports, to be honest. So that's going to be that. So there's going to be plenty of buildings in here, and after we build this building, we actually get to a restroom as well, because we don't have any bathrooms in the park, and we need to have bathrooms in the park, especially towards the entrance. That way, if anyone has to go as soon as they get in the park, there is at least one right there. So that's that's gonna work. So I still, again, might do some more detailing later on with some of these buildings. So what you're seeing, of course, is not final, and it is going to be touched up on a later day. So I just want to get the blueprint out there, and kind of what we're going for is getting the layout of the park kind of going. So I don't want to have any rides right at the front of the park very much, and this first ride is it's close to the entrance, but it's not going to be like right by the entrance. So and we're going to connect all that together, and hopefully it will be nice and beautiful. And I can't wait till the next episode as well, because we're going to be working on that coaster more, and it's going to be a fun thing to do. So again, we're going to be working with some more backstage areas of a lot of the buildings. A lot of the buildings are going to have backstage areas, and for employees only. So those are going to be kind of interesting to have in there. And with this building, I do kind of cheat and just use a flat roof, I believe, in the end, but I didn't go all out on interior in this building, so it's just kind of basic. It's more, this building is going to be like a gift shop kind of building, like a general store in a way. So you're going to have a general store here. You got the nice restaurant right at the beginning, so you're going to walk into the park and there's going to be a nice general store and restaurant. So I felt like that's a pretty good entrance for a park. So you have all these kind of things. So, and then there's going to be a lot of different stores and shops throughout the park as well, along with some stalls and some fun things. So it's going to be a lot of a great shopping experience in this park as well. So it's going to be really cool, really fun. And again, there's not going to be like a ton of roller coasters. They're going to be scattered throughout the park. We're probably around the 4 to 5 range coasters, maybe. We'll see, but it just kind of depends on what I feel like fits the best. So we've been using a lot of just using the grid for the pathways. We actually are just going to do that here in the entrance area. So the entrance area is going to have all these grid pathways, and then once we get around, as you see, once we get to the coaster, it's going to break off into some more unique kind of pathways and stuff like that. And we're also going to use the terrain to our advantage as well. So there's going to be a lot of terrainy kind of areas as well as flat areas. So there's going to be a mixture of both. So that way, most parks I don't know if I've ever been to a park that is completely flat without at least one little slope. So that's going to be fun and interesting the way that will turn out. So that's going to be fun. And I'm really trying to push my boundaries of my building skills. As you know, like the rustic and kind of like westerny kind of buildings, this is my comfort zone. And I want to try and master my building skills on this kind of genre, and that's why this park has kind of come about, so I can really do some like advanced, realistic kind of buildings and architecture and just a overall fun park that is going to look really good in the end. And then I'm going to try and eventually, because I get a lot of requests to do possibly a sci-fi park, because that's actually one of the most requested parks that I'm going to do. So I might look into that just in a little while. So but I don't want to have another project started up, so we're going to wait until one of these projects get completed first before we start on a project like that. So so this needs to be finished, either this needs to be finished first or Arrow Valley needs to be finished first. I'll probably look at it for kind of like maybe a next year's park, so I can prepare a little bit, maybe kind of experiment a little bit off screen and get my confidence just a little bit better, because I don't know how to create a sci-fi park. I'm not good at it. So and that's why I need to start on it, because I need to master more building styles if I want to be that master builder. So if I want to be a great builder, I want to definitely get all those kind of building styles down. So but I've always been like really interested in like the rustic kind of architecture and buildings and stuff like that. It's just my comfort zone. I enjoy building these kind of buildings because they're very simple, and you can kind of do whatever you want with them as long as there's wood and different things like that. So I feel like it's a very easy building style that a lot of people could do it. So it works very well. And I just like the way they look too. I just love the wood and just kind of like the old style, old style kind of, and it looks really nice. And I'm very excited for this park. This park is probably going to be my best looking park anyways, and probably most realistic in a sense. So, and here we have kind of like a cut. So there was some footage that was lost somehow. I don't know exactly how, but the footage was just sitting there for a long time, and there was just a little bit of me finishing the building over there. Overall, you got to see most of it, and then I went over to this and started building this the restrooms that was also kind of cut out. So I don't know exactly what happened with the footage. It just kind of like got deleted. So we have a cut here, and it wasn't too exciting, building a restroom and stuff, but I made a backstage area for that. And then we get into over here, which is the exciting part, which is a roller coaster, and that cut actually makes this episode a little bit shorter, so that kind of sucks. But I did have this is actually the most footage that I've actually done, but there's a cut because the footage kind of was gone. I don't know what happened to it. It just kind of glitched out and was missing, so we're stuck with missing some footage, but that's okay because we got the roller coaster footage, which is what everyone wants to see in the first place anyways, am I right? So we do a little terraforming over here, and I do a little bit of path work and a little bit of foliage and some stuff like that. So here we go into the mine train coaster, the first coaster coming to Rustic City, and it was just the most fitting coaster to go in here. Now I do this a little bit differently. I think I mentioned it before, but I use custom supports for this, my own custom supports, and then I use custom footers as well that I actually got off the workshop, and I actually modify them to actually work a little bit more properly. But I do like the way they look. They look very nicely. So if you'll see a lot of those mine trains, they do have like a lot of wooden supports, kind of like those mine style supports too. So I do kind of try and make a little bit of a mine train style support as best as I can. I've never really made custom supports before, but I thought it turned out. So you have the ledger on top, and then you have kind of like the beams are kind of at an angle. So a lot of different like angles and like stuff that looks kind of like out of, doesn't look, properly placed. It kind of looks a little rustic, and of course, and a little bit, like someone just kind of threw it together as best as they could, and that's kind of like the look and feel that's supposed to. I'm thinking about adding some beams connecting these. I'm not sure just yet. It just depends on how long it takes, and then of course I add some footers in the end as well. But these turned out pretty nice. I actually like the way it looks, and with the wooden supports, as you see a lot of you'll see a lot of mine train coasters actually have the wooden supports instead of the steel supports, and I kind of like the way that they look quite a bit. So I kind of prefer the wooden supports on these. So that's kind of how this came about, and I might have to adjust some of these ledgers so they're kind of actually with the bank a little bit, and you can see how much longer, how much effort goes into just one turn right out of the station. It actually takes up quite a bit of time, but I am committed, and I want to get the best quality and result that I want. I've been wanting to do a mine train coaster like this for quite some time now, and it works quite nicely. So you got the footers that I have to place. I have to place the supports as well. And then, of course, when we get kind of like into the taller supports, it's going to get a little bit more difficult because I'm going to have to build a bigger version of the supports and use those. So I might as it's probably a better idea just to use the larger supports in the first place. But and that's why I kind of left the other one over there, so I can kind of modify it and use it to my advantage. So I can use different kinds of versions that will be, you know, some taller, some shorter. That way I use less or medium-sized pieces, and just kind of creating a wooden set. And I might even post it to the Steam Workshop if people are interested in that. So just to get, you know, a more in-depth of these custom, you know, wooden supports, which are very, very simple, but they work very well. And I was actually very pleased with how they turned out. And I'm just going to go section by section with the coaster layouts. This is actually all I get done in this particular episode, and we'll get a lot more done in the following episode. But as you can see, we just do a little bit of terra painting and some foliage, and I'm just going to do each and every section of track kind of like this. So we're going to do a little section at a time, and then we'll move on to the next section. We'll do a little section at a time, move on to the next section. So it's going to be a very time-consuming thing, but luckily you guys are in a time lapse. I'm not, so I have to go through like 2.5 hours or more of me trying to build this this track. And tell me, I'll let you know, it is very time-consuming, but the end result hopefully will be very much worth it. And we get into a little bit of the station. I don't finish it, so I do want to state that I don't finish it, but I get a good chunk of it done. At least the shaping of it and everything like that. A lot of details have not been done yet, but hopefully that will come in very, very shortly in the next episode. So, but I wanted to get into the first coaster, and my idea, this one's going to be kind of near the road that goes across at the beginning. So there's going to be you know, the road leading up into the park. This road is going to go by this coaster, so you're going to probably be able to see this coaster from the road a little bit. If you there's going to be some trees, but you'll probably be able to see it through the road, through the trees, and you'll see a little bit on the road. So it'll be kind of cool. So and that way you have that coaster that's you know, again, this park's going to be kind of very, you know, hidden in the woods, kind of, in a sense. So a lot of these coasters are going to be using a lot of like in the woods and not very easy to see kind of feel to it. So you're not going to be able to get a good look at the coaster before you ride it. It's going to be the idea with these kind of rides. So this station's turning out really nicely. I was actually kind of pleased with it so far, at least the shaping of it, and what we have at the moment. I'm going to be adding a lot of different props and sections like that. So we're going to be adding a storyline to this ride as well, because you got to have that storyline, and you just got to have all that, all those elements that make a theme park a theme park. So you want to have a story to your rides. And this one, of course, is it's gonna be kind of maybe a little basic kind of story with a runaway mine train and everything like that. So, but we'll come up with an in-depth storyline fairly soon, and it's gonna be probably the least themed kind of storylined ride in the first place. So, but that's okay. It will still be worth giving a ride and getting that story in there. So it's gonna be really, really cool. I'm very excited. And then I wanted to make a skeleton of the roof because most coaster stations have those, and you can look up and you can see the actual skeleton of the roof on the top, and so you might I might add some like ropes or stuff dangling off of those. That way you have a lot of theming. So this is obviously going to have the track theming is probably going to be 100% or very, very high because of all the custom supports, of course. And then, you know, the queue line is easily going to get to 100% on theming. And the station is going to look really, really cool. I wanted to make it look unique. As of right now, before we get to the fun part, it's not the most awesome, you know, detailed, but I add some shaping a little bit into the roofing because you'll see in just a little bit, but it turns out really, really cool, and I'm very excited for everything this park's going to have to offer, and you're just going to see a lot of cool things coming out of these. So you're going to be seeing a lot of cool rides. This is going to be one of the basic rides, one of the kind of like family rides, one of the family coasters that isn't going to get a whole lot of attention, but it's still going to be like that classic coaster that's in the park. Like, oh, we got to ride that before at least once in this trip. So it's going to be like that kind of coaster. So you're going to be seeing like, oh, okay, it's like aerodynamics kind of styled mine train. So we have to get on that. So, but yeah, again, adding a lot of different just some nice shaping to your building goes a long way. Even if it's, you know, a square or rectangle kind of feel, you can actually do stuff with like the roof and different things like that to make it, you know, look more interesting to look at. So that was the idea with this station, and it's looking, the shape, I'm really excited for the shape. It looks really cool, but we have a lot of detailing to do because I'm going to detail it just like I would on the other buildings in this park, and it's going to be really, really cool. And I can't wait to see the final result of this park because it's going to be really nice. And I'm working on it quite a bit because I'm so excited for it. And it's going to be a very nice coaster, and it rolls out of that station, and it's going to be, you know, probably not a fast ride, probably in the 40-mile-an-hour range, probably no faster. But anyways, that's it for this episode. I hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure you comment, like, and subscribe, and make sure you have a great day and an even cooler tomorrow. Thanks so much, guys. I'll see you guys in the next video, and goodbye.